everybody, and welcome in to another episode of It's Not Only Football. This week, it's myself, Zach Gilford, and Mae Whitman, going on another cruise, baby.
Oh, man. Maybe this time we get on an ATV or something. Maybe we mix it up. I don't know.
Are we going to stay
like we're on land?
No, let's get in the boat. Beep, beep. Here we go. All aboard.
Well, here we are on the SS. It's Not Only Football. Hashtag INOF. Your crew today is your cruise director, Zach Gilford, and two woebegone passengers, and Mae Whitman, myself, Scott Porter.
Can't we have a job title too? I want to be like
you want to be my first mate?
Yeah,
it's my first mate,
exactly
Mae, you're my first mate.
And I'm not, mate. I'm doing all the work and getting none of the credit. You know,
this bloke is me third deckhand.
He's
no.
He's the captain.
Who's not
and
fun?
He's like sleeping.
Who's not fun on a ship? Who's the one that I'm the one that's walking around making sure everybody knows where their life jackets are.
You're the safety advisor, yeah.
I'm the safety. Yeah. I'm the safety advisor on
and we're
board.
like, it's fine, relax.
It's cool. I know how to swim. I used to be a lifeguard.
Before we get on the ship, let's keep the theme of our show going, even though we're not speaking about the show that our show is about. It's not only football. If this week was not only football for you, what was it? May.
If this week was not only football, which it's honestly not usually football at all, I'm going to be honest,
you, especially
for the first
in the
time
summer.
5 years. I would say that this week is about hummingbirds.
Ooh.
Because they're my spirit animal. And I have a very deep connection with them. And there are so many of them in my yard right now because I'm planting. I'm really into gardening. I'm very much like an old man. I wake up and I'm walking around and I'm making sure and I'm fertilizing and the thing and stuff. So I started like a little vegetable patio garden thing outside because I was like, why am I buying this produce when I could just be growing it? So I started growing it, and the hummingbirds are eating it up. And I got like a bird feeder and a hummingbird feeder and like these little bird fountains. And I am talking, it is pollinator city. It's like the most hoppin' restaurant in town. The spa, the birds are jumping in the water. They're like waiting in line. Yes. They're fuming at the center. It's like a whole. So now I really I'm into like bird watching, and there's like bees and butterflies and shit. So I'm whatever character there is in some bad book that's like grumpy and watching birds. That's me now.
No, I don't think that you are a curmudgeon. I think
it's
you're effervescent. I think you're very effervescent. I think you're full of light and life, May, and you love nature, and that's awesome. Yeah. I saw there's a show on TV called Shark Tank, and there's these people that
my favorite, Gloria Greer, is a dear friend of mine.
Oh, that's awesome! I didn't know that, but there was a beehive company who would come and install, on your land somewhere, just a safe place for bees to be able to create hives and to help the health of bees and to continue to give them safe havens. And I want one so bad to put up in the hill behind my house. I'm still a big dream of mine. I have a bunch of ice plant in the front of my house, and bees are going to town right now, and I love it.
Yeah, they love it.
Absolutely love to see it. Also, there's a song called Hummingbird that James Blake put out recently, and it's very, very good. Go listen to it.
Ooh.
Zach, if this week was not only football for you, what was it?
Getting it done. It's been a lot of rando stuff around the crib that I got to get did, and I've been doing it.
Same.
You know, it's kind of the stuff you let slide by the wayside while you're working. Now we're on strike, so I'm getting stuff done.
I'm getting a lot of walking in, but also this week for me was not only football. It's about endings and beginnings. My little girl, my daughter Clover, is finishing preschool and starting kindergarten in the same week.
Wow.
It is insane.
Is that how it works usually?
There's like staggered times or start school or when school starts. So the preschool, her last day and her graduation day are like a week apart. So she will have been in kindergarten for 5 days before she goes to her actual preschool graduation.
Whoa.
But my heart is breaking and singing, and I'm so sad and proud.
They grow
and
up
it's
so
like
fast.
all at the same time. And when we went on our trip this summer with the kids, one of the adults that was there with her teenagers, she looked at us and she said, and her oldest was in their late teens, and she looked at us and she said, "You only have 18 summers, so it's really cool that you're taking advantage of this one."
Jesus.
And it was like, ugh!
Oh, I took advantage of this summer because she's still in preschool, so they don't have summer break. And I was like, yes, you're still in school. People said, are you taking a trip? I said, no, she
You're
goes
like,
to school.
only 17 more to go.
I'm taking these however many off. So, I'm like, go to school, get an education, leave me alone.
Well, Clover.
God, I'm so glad we don't have to go to school anymore. It's so stressful thinking about like get up and do your homework and go sit. I can't.
School
It's a
just
nightmare.
took a different form. Being an actor, what role are you not studying for? It's like
None
being an
of 'em.
actor, you're
Everyone?
constantly.
Yeah,
Study-
really. I'm
study.
like, have you worked with me, bruh?
Show up, I read it, I do it, I go home.
Same.
But you don't read it. You have to at least memorize it.
No, we memorize it during rehearsal.
You memorize it in the hair and makeup trailer
Yeah.
while you're getting your hair and makeup done
Yeah.
after rehearsal.
Yeah, and then
obviously.
you like rewrite it on set, and you're like, this doesn't work,
Yes.
let's do that.
And you're like, just leave me alone. Trust me. I know how to
Yeah,
say
I know what
it.
I'm
Just
doing.
it's
I'm a
fine.
professional. I went to college.
Yeah,
I
relax.
think our
Cool
approaches to work is exactly how people would expect, having listened to this podcast for 40 some
Yeah.
episodes now.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely am like getting down to brass tacks. I'm studying, I'm researching, I'm doing all this stuff, and you guys are
Oh my
like,
God.
no, we learned in the makeup trailer on the way onto
Of
set.
course.
Yeah.
You got to keep it fresh.
Gotta
You know what I
keep
mean?
it fresh. I can't decide what I'm going to do before I'm there.
Yeah. Like
Come
you got to
on.
listen. What if they toss you something in the moment? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got to catch it. My eyes got to be wide open, sir. Wide open.
Yeah.
Were
Sir.
they closed or were they open? sir?
Throwback.
Throwback.
Okay, let's get into the fun.
Okay.
Shall we? You got your
I'm
life
so
vest,
excited.
son?
I would
The
love
ship's
to get
leaving
fun.
port.
All right, so
Cruise director, tell us what
I
fun we are in store
foreshadowed,
for
I
now.
alluded. I think it's time for a little game called Two Truths and a Lie. Here's how the
my
game
God,
works.
I'm so excited.
You're going to make 3 statements about occurrences, experiences in your life. 2 of them will be true, things that actually happened to you. 1 of them will be a dirty, rotten lie. And the other
Wow.
2 of us are going to have to try and figure out which one's a lie and which 2 are true. And then we get to ask for the story behind any of them if we want to.
Smart.
All right. I know Scott isn't excited about this.
Oh, man, I am.
So you should go first.
I'll go first. I got mine all ready to go.
I'm not
Okay,
prepared.
okay.
That's
Oh my
you
gosh.
pulled the Gilly card.
I pulled
Wow.
a
Do your
Gilly.
homework.
Not
I
so funny
pulled
when it
a
happens to
Gilly.
you.
So someone else can go first.
I'm happy to go.
Yeah, that's
unless
Zach.
okay.
You go.
All right, let's go. Let's think here. Okay.
Let's think
Let's
about
think.
the thing I've already thought
Let
I'm
me
about.
not there, so
remember-
you need to look into his eyes.
Let
and
me
try to
remember-
get-
no.
Setting the scene.
Okay, so
Scott, look into his eyes and try to tell the lie.
I
He's a bad
have
liar.
hiked the 213.7 mile John Muir Trail, which
John Mayer has a trail.
John Muir.
John-
Did I say John Muir?
Trail of
as you
Well, that would have been a lie.
as you walk all
trail
the
of broken
217
hearts.
miles, you have
No,
to
no.
listen to Body as a
Yeah.
Wonderland. You have to listen to
Oh my
Georgia.
God.
you
His
have to
later
listen to
stuff I
Brutal.
appreciate. Funny story, I was at a wedding,
No.
and he was a guest, and he and it was super small, it was like 40 people, and he played guitar and sang for their first dance, and it was like, much respect, John Mayer. It was pretty cool.
Bro, he is a
What did he play and
phenomenal
sing?
guitar
Oh, he's an
player.
amazing musician. I don't
People,
remember.
yeah, people don't know like just how fantastic. I mean,
He's a great guitar player.
people who know music know how good he is, but people who just like think John Mayer is whatever John Mayer, like
Yeah.
he is an incredible guitar player.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
he's not that bubblegum tongue album thing. Like that's not really his style. He's
That
more of a
song's pretty good.
bluesy. No, it's all fine, but he's not as poppy as his big first album was. Anyway,
No, he's a
His very
shredder.
first hit
He's
is one of
playing
my
with the
kids'
Grateful
favorite
Dead. We get it,
favorite
you know?
songs right now.
Yeah.
what song?
His very first song, I want to run through the halls of my high school. I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
scream at the
Oh.
top of my
I wanna
lungs.
run through the
You know,
halls
well,
of
he
my
says, you know,
high
they tell
school.
you to stay inside the lines, and my kids both love the color, and they're like, I want to color how I want to color. This guy gets it.
This guy, John Mayer gets it. Said no one ever.
Nobody else gets it.
Stay inside the lines.
The lines.
Yeah. Let's go. Okay, so you walked the 217 mile.
213.7 mile John Muir Trail.
Okay.
I was held up at gunpoint when I was 10 years old. And I surprised my wife while we were newly dating with an afternoon of skydiving.
God, it's like I want to say the gunpoint thing, but I feel like that's probably true. It could be he could be trying to throw us off with the boring hiking thing because it's like we don't care if you hike.
It's like iconic.
Where
this
is the
is my
John
process.
Muir Trail?
And then
California. It ends on Mount Whitney, which is like, I don't know, a few hours from LA.
Where does it start?
Up in the northern Sierras.
And then what's the last one again? The skydiving. I say it's the skydiving's a lie.
I'm going to go with John Mayer.
John Mayer.
The John Mayer Trail.
I did never hike the John Mayer Trail.
Boom!
Yay.
But the John Muir Trail. No, you were right. You got it. I've hiked parts of it. I've never hiked the whole thing.
Nice.
Yeah. No, it was boring. You were right. I was trying to throw you off with something that sounded like something I would have done.
Totally. Dude, tell us about the gunpoint thing. That's terrifying.
No, so this is kind of crazy. This is actually, it was going to be my scariest moment last week until like bears just came up. And so I ran with that. But yeah, I was coming out of a Walgreens with my dad when I was 10. I was in 6th grade. Maybe I was 11. I only know I was in 6th grade because it was my first year at my junior high. And there was a group of kids, and one of them held a gun up to me and my dad and basically said, give us your money. And there was one kid in the group who was on my soccer team. And he said, no, he's cool. Let them go. And the guy was like, for real? And he said, yeah. And he put the gun down, and me and my dad got in our car and drove away. And we're just like shell shocked.
Wait, one of the kids on your team was robbing?
He was in the group of kids who were holding us up, but then was like, oh, I know him. They're cool. And then of course, like a dumb 11-year-old, not dumb, but, I was like, probably watched too many TV movies at practice, like our next practice. I was like, Michael, like, who were those guys you're hanging out with? And he's just like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Like I was trying to be that guy, and he was just like, okay, you're cool. Like, don't worry about it.
Like, I shouldn't have told them that you were cool.
We should have taken your money.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. It was like one of those moments where like I said, like everything slowed down. I remember like all I could see was like the barrel of that gun and just like staring down it. It was crazy. I wish it on no one.
That's really scary.
And you surprised your wife with afternoon of skydiving? Was she prepared? Did she know it was coming?
No, I took her to sushi, and then I was like, I got something fun to do.
Ew,
like,
not
what?
Sushi. Before?
Well,
my
here's the
God,
deal,
you're a pervert.
And then we like a pervert.
Like a bad person. That's what I meant.
No,
hey, let's go eat a bunch of raw fish. Okay, now we're gonna jump out of the plane.
The rice will settle your stomach. But so then we drive up, and she's like, "What are we doing?" I was like, "She's like, are we skydiving?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "You can't surprise someone with that."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Why not?" She's like, "How do you know if I want to go skydiving?" And I said, "Well, I know you told me a story of like you were gonna go skydiving when you were working in Hawaii before, but then it was too windy, so you didn't get to go." So I was like, "So in my mind, that means you want to go skydiving. You just lost your opportunity." She went. It was great, but yeah, she was not.
You are so lucky you found her. I swear to God.
Yeah, I don't know if she feels the same way.
Here on It's Not Only Football, we have a couple of fantasy football fans. And to get ahead in fantasy football, sometimes you subscribe to a site that gives you a little bonus material before you hit your drafts, and then you forget about it. You know what? Rocket Money is there to make sure that you do not forget about it, that you are able to remember to stop subscribing to stuff you just do not need. Listen, are subscriptions draining your wallet, your bank account? The average person has around 12 paid subscriptions that they might not even remember, and they definitely probably don't need. If you don't have any idea how much you're spending each month, you need Rocket Money to step in and let you know. They will take care of it. They will cancel them for you. They will save money for you on a monthly basis. Look, it blew my mind when I found out everything that I was subscribed to. but over 80% of people have subscriptions they've forgotten about. Don't be one of them. I mean, there's subscriptions everywhere. If you're watching TV, if you're subscribing to a magazine, certain newspaper, and you stop using them, you don't need them anymore. Well, let Rocket Money step in and help you get out from under all of them. Listen, Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. And we all need that. Most people think they're only spending $80 on their subscriptions, when in reality, the number is closer to $200 a month. So when you're signed up for so many things, it's easy to forget and lose track. Don't have that happen to you anymore. Let Rocket Money get you back on track. Listen, stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and manage your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/FNL. That's rocketmoney.com/FNL. rocketmoney.com/FNL. That was a rocket.
Microdose. You heard me talk about it before. I'm going to talk about it again. Guess what? It's one word, not two, and it's dope. Look, I mentioned before I had trouble sleeping. I've been trying this microdose because I don't like drinking to go to sleep because it makes me feel crappy. And the microdose has been working. I pop a gummy, I watch a little TV, I fall asleep, I wake up in the morning feeling great. Well, guess what? I started experimenting a little bit, to be honest, and it's been fun. I've just been taking one. I was a little worried. What's it going to make me feel like? So I would take one, when I was out to dinner with my wife. I felt totally normal. I just felt a little chill. Then I was like, let's pop it up to 2. And I'm going to be honest, I felt a little funsies, okay? I was at dinner, and I was talking to my wife, and I said, you know what? I got some tingling in my toesies and in my fingers, and it feels nice. And I'll tell you what, by the time dessert came, it was gone. And now I know I'm only going to take 2 if I have time to take 2, but I'm not going to mess around with it too much. And it's way better than anything else I've ever done to kind of try and take the edge off. I also really like the gummies. They taste like candy. I've done all sorts of different flavors. I really like the mixed berry. I'm just a berry guy. But here's the deal, people. Microdose is available nationwide. To learn more about microdosing THC, go to microdose.com and use code LIGHTS to get free shipping and 30% off your first order. Links can be found in the show description. But again, that is microdose.com, code LIGHTS. Get your dose on, people. All right, who's up?
May.
Okay, I can go. I'll go. Okay, one time when I was like 17, I was at a Hollywood party, and I left, and I was on the curb waiting to go home, and I felt something hit me on the head, and I turned around, and it was Quentin Tarantino, and he'd hit me with his fist on the head. One time,
Wait.
Okay,
I guess we'll wait till the end of the game for
get
this
into it.
story.
Yeah, you have to guess.
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay. One time I was in a taxi cab that hit a woman and continued to drive away. And also, I'm an excellent whistler. And in middle school, with my friends Shane and Alana, I started a band called the Whislin Willies.
Wow. Okay.
That's true. That's true. I'm looking at May right now, and
the shame on her face.
The whistling willies is definitely something.
You can't make that kind of stuff up unless you're in that band.
Oh, man.
I think it's the taxi cab. Taxi cab confessions. I don't buy it.
Yeah. Who were you in the taxi cab with?
Myself.
Yeah, I'm gonna call bullshit on B.
Final answer.
Final answer.
Fuck you guys. I wasn't in the Whistling Willies. I am the best actor in the world.
She was acting.
I'm a bad whistler. I'm an actor. I knew. I was like, this is so embarrassing that I'll put some real shame in there. And they'll be like, look at you, you're so ashamed.
God.
No, I truthfully was at a party, and I was waiting for a ride home on the curb, and I felt something hit my head, and I turned around, and Quentin Tarantino was standing there, like he'd like bopped me, like plopped
Did he know
his
you?
fist on my head. No. And I was like, excuse me. And he was like, I'm really sorry, but you have the most boppable head I've ever seen. And I was like, okay. And he was like, do you mind if can I just bop it one more time? And I was like, sure. And he bopped my head one more time. And then my taxi got there and he was like, thank you.
Like, what does he think
And
you
I
are,
got
little
in
bunny
it.
frou-frou up in this mug?
Brother, I said yes. So clearly he read the room correctly. I was like, sure, bop it. I
This
don't
is a
know. It was
boppable head.
very strange. And true in Chicago, no less.
Oh,
I was in a taxi and all of a sudden the driver fully ran a stop sign, hit a woman, and kept going. And I started screaming at the top of my lungs and like hitting the back of the seat and being like, I'm calling the police. And he literally went, "Oh, not again." He literally said, not again.
God.
And I got out of the cab and I went back and she was like laying in the street, like bleeding and like didn't know her name, didn't know what was going on. And like, again, that emergency part of me was like, it's going to be okay. I'm going to be here, And so like, I like lay in the street with her and like, eventually like the ambulance came and they like took her. But I've always wondered, I'm like, I mean, she was okay, but she definitely was like up, but it wasn't like, oh my God, did she make it or not? Like she obviously made it, but sometimes I'm just like, who is she? Where is she? It was pretty wild. It was one of the crazier things. And my friend Nicolette, who was here today, who also is a veterinarian, we were talking and I heard her whistling in the other room and I was like, that's the most beautiful whistle I've ever heard. And she said, thanks. I was in a band in middle school called the Whistling Willies. And I said, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. And she said, thanks. It's not true. She was like, I am really an excellent whistler, but I just think that's funny to say. So I say it sometimes. And I was like, if you can do it and I believed it, then I can do it and they'll believe it.
Oh, that was good. I love that.
So
It's one of my
thank you.
favorite jokes is just lying.
It's really funny.
It's hilarious.
If you can pull it off, it's really funny.
Did I tell you? No, I didn't. So this is one of my favorites, and I'm buying you time here. So,
I mean, mine are not going to be as good as these. I have hit a person,
Doesn't
though.
matter.
We'll continue that conversation.
I have this friend who said, basically, he was like, yeah, I just like to lie about random stuff. And I said, what? And he goes, like if someone says, what time is it? And it's, 4:43, I tell them it's 4:44.
What?
That's so
just to
sad.
mess with them.
How close
It's
are
just
you
a
with
little
this
to
person?
himself moment, though.
It's like these, like it's just something for him, like a little bit
Like
of
it won't hurt
power
anyone,
he
but
has
he's, like,
over
taking
this
it
random
back.
person, which is the weirdest thing, but I kind of love
Sticking it to the man, baby.
Yeah, you want to know what time
That's
it is? Get your own watch.
Ouch. Jeez.
Yeah,
That's
I'm gonna
really
tell. I'm
sad and
gonna get you there a minute early.
Okay.
So you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I ran into a person once.
This is obviously true because you already said it, so we haven't started the game.
Yeah, no. I was just when I was in Orlando, Florida, there is a road and it's called Old Cheney Highway, and it has this 90-degree hairpin turn. And bad things happen to myself and my family on 90-degree hairpin turns.
It's called Dead Man's Curve.
One time we were chasing wild geese in the west of Nebraska, my mom and my dad and myself, and we got we would get up before the sun would rise and we would find these geese on migration and we would take these beautiful photos of them. Well, my dad forgot to load film in the camera that morning and we were driving back and then they realized it. My mom and him got in a massive fight and we turned around and we were driving back down this gravel road that had a 90-degree hairpin turn on it. And my mom, it snuck up on us. There was no sign. There was no sign that was like turn coming up. And she locked up the brakes and the car turned completely. This was one of those, trucks with a cab on it, turned completely sideways. And we went off sideways 6 feet down into a cornfield because cornfields are usually built, they're built, not built.
Oh my God.
They usually rest below the roadways because it grows so tall. We went off, we rolled the truck twice over.
Are you serious?
Yeah. My dog, Emmy, my Australian Shepherd, Emmy, was in the bed of the truck. And my dad had his seatbelt on. My mom had her seatbelt on. I was in the middle and had my little lap belt on. And my dad cracked the window with his head, completely shattered the front windshield. We rolled over twice completely and then landed
what about your dog?
On our wheels. we opened the door, and Emmy could not have been happier because what was in the trunk with her was 2 coolers full of food. Eggs had cracked all over the place. Bread was everywhere. Emmy came flying out of there like a rocket, turned around, looked back up, and was like panting, and jumped right back up in the bed of the truck and just went back, resumed eating whatever she could eat.
Whoa, that is so gnarly.
My dad cracked the windshield. My mom got a concussion, and I was fine. Yeah, we had to have the Datsun pulled up out of like a crane, basically pulled back up onto the road, and then we drove it home without the passenger side door.
Oh my goodness!
Jesus.
Yeah, that was an experience. But then when I was in Orlando, I was coming around this 90-degree turn, and the traffic in the other direction was bumper to bumper. It was it was rush hour traffic for that direction, and a young man just ran out from these row of parked cars. Basically, I mean, they weren't parked, but they were gridlocked. They were gridlocked, and I slammed on my brakes, and he stopped in front of me, and he saw me coming, and he did like a juke move, like he was trying to avoid a tackler on the football field. And then he put his left foot down, and he tried to spin move my car. And I think, it really pretty saved him. I just took that leg out from under him, and then he rolled across the hood of my car and got up and was like, brushed himself off, and he looked at me, and I think he was kind of embarrassed, and I was scared shitless. And I was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I'll call and he was just like, "I'm good, man. I'm good." And he left. And so I pulled my car over, and I called my friend in the police department. I was like, "Hey, can I leave? I hit somebody." But then he ran off.
You're free to go.
I don't know where he went. And he's like,
he left,
"You're free to go." I have never been more mortified in my life than the time
so
that.
scary.
But I barely. I at that point must have been going like 4 miles an hour.
He clearly was
'cause I had
fine
slammed
and
on the
on
brakes. Yeah.
drugs, so you're good.
I don't know. I'm not going to say he was on that. I think it was just like he was used to crossing that road, and
Or is
I
it
was
running away from the
Anyway,
law?
90-degree turns, not good for me.
Wait, I want to rewind back to your family chased wild geese.
Yeah, like when you're in
Yeah, I didn't
Nebraska,
wanna-
there's not a lot to do, and actually,
It's like cow tipping.
the
That seems
migration
mean.
of geese. No. Not
Not
chase
to scare them,
like,
just like follow them,
not like
Twister.
a dog runs after a bird, but
You're,
like,
like,
They're like, "Come on,
documenting
goose!
them.
I'm gonna get you, you wild
no.
goose! You."
What I mean is, we would go during geese migration season, and there's. Let me try and explain.
You would
this.
photograph. No, I get it.
It
You would
was
chase
the
them.
most beautiful thing, the quiet stillness of all of these beautiful birds on a calm lake on the plains of Nebraska as the sun rises, and then they will awaken, and then they will all take flight to go to their next location.
Dude, you don't
amongst
have to
their
defend
migration.
yourself to
And
me. I don't
I'm
judge
there.
what people are into.
I'm visualizing it,
gorgeous,
and I'm
man.
there, and
It's
I'm
gorgeous.
following.
It's gorgeous, and I love to do it. I was like 10 years old, and I go with my folks like that, and I miss those trips, those weekends where we get away. It's not only football. Friday Night Lights and Beyond is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Most of you listening right now are probably multitasking. Yep. While you're listening to us talk, you're probably also driving or cleaning or exercising, maybe even grocery shopping. But if you're not in some kind of moving vehicle, there's something else you could be doing right now. Getting an auto quote from Progressive Insurance. It's easy, and you can save money by doing it right now from your phone. Drivers who save by switching to Progressive save nearly $700 on average, and auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Discounts for having multiple vehicles on your policy, being a homeowner, and a lot more. So, just like your favorite podcast, hopefully us, Progressive will be with you 24/7, 365 days a year, so you are protected no matter what. Multitask right now. Quote your car insurance at Progressive.com to join the over 29 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $698 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2021 and May 2022. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations. All right, let me 2 truths and a lie.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, you got
There we
it.
are.
Yeah, by the way, I just want to say you're always like, oh, the structure, I'm scared, whatever. You are so good at just flying off the cuff. I'm giving you a
Yeah.
little badge from the first mate to the safety director. You get employee of the month. I'm very proud of
Yeah.
you.
Oh man,
You wear
Yeah.
that
I'm
badge.
blushing
We all
over
feel
here,
so
guys.
safe.
and then I'm gonna be. This is gonna suck.
No, this is gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
No, all you have to do is fool us. It doesn't matter if they're interesting or stupid.
Yeah. I performed with Prince at his New Year's Eve party at the Top of the Palms in Las Vegas. I helped teach Justin Timberlake how to beatbox on a boat in Orlando, Florida. I performed the national anthem with just my voice, like Jimi Hendrix, in an Orlando hockey game, and then got to open for Michael Winslow later that day.
I don't know who Michael Winslow is, so it feels like
he was the cop from a movie. Oh boy, Michael Winslow is a sound effects guy, and he's a comedian.
Got it.
He's very funny.
Got it. Those were good.
Those were good. I
gotta go middle. I'm feeling. What are you feeling?
I'm feeling the last one because I'm trying to think of what hockey team is in Orlando. I mean, I know that there's plenty of hockey teams.
It's like Magic or something.
It was probably like the junior high hockey team or something.
I mean, okay, look. What boat? I guess where is he talking to Justin on a boat? What boat is this?
I don't know, man. Well, Justin was in that like Disney crew. He was in the Disney crew. That's why I kind of.
You're right. And yeah, you're right. I'm trying to put together those first two just rolled off so quick. Yeah. It just seems like.
Then he threw on that like at the Palm when it was like, oh, but that could be.
That could be tossing.
Maybe tossing.
If you were Scott and you were like, I don't want to play this, so I'm just gonna do this. What would the timing be? Like, would you be like, I'm gonna rattle off the things I know and then just try to power through the wrong thing, or would you be like, I'm gonna get this lie out of the way? I really believed him when he said the Prince thing. That the Justin stuck out to me, but but you're right. The Disney thing is too. No, I think it's too. It's too important to ignore. I think you're right. You think it's the Prince?
But maybe there's like a lot of like things that could work. And then he threw in like it's like, oh yeah, well everyone knows Scott's beatboxes, so,
right?
You're
right.
Like, oh, he taught Justin Timberlake.
You would know.
Yeah, come on.
You love to hike your fake trail that you never.
Yeah, my John Mayer trail.
You guess first.
You won me over. I'm gonna go with JT.
Okay, well then I'll go number one just so we can try to see.
All right. So you think Prince is a lie?
I don't know what I think.
Justin Timberlake is a lie. I did perform the Star Spangled Banner as Jimi Hendrix.
I knew it.
And then get to perform with Michael Winslow at halftime with my old a cappella group.
It was Timberlake.
So you go like this. This is how the Star Spangled Banner sounds, with the human voice. So yeah, only child for a long time in my life and had a lot of time to.
I want the record to show that my jaw is on the floor.
So
that sounds good.
And Michael Winslow was in a movie that was about a police academy, and he was very.
Oh,
famous.
He's that guy.
Yes, and it was an awesome moment for me to like get to meet him and my a cappella group. That was 425, which became Voice Play. We got to open for him.
I knew it.
Okay, so that one
on NSYNC's first national tour. That same a cappella group, 425, did open for NSYNC at a couple of different events. We also opened for 98 Degrees on their first national tour.
Love.
There is a place in Orlando called Cranes Roost Park, and there's a stage out on a lake, and the only way to get there is on a boat. And we rode out with NSYNC, and both Justin Timberlake and I beatboxed at each other for a while. And years later, I was in Berlin doing a movie with Susan Sarandon and a couple of other people, and we went to his tour, his Sexy Back tour, and we got to meet him afterwards, and he was looking at me, and he's like, "Why do I know you?" And I was like, I don't know, man.
So we were beatboxing on that boat.
I did whatever. And, the show that we can't talk about was out at that point.
Yeah, you were like, I'm an actor, and he's like, definitely not
maybe
that.
Maybe this show, and he's like,
yeah, but
never
didn't you
seen
remember
it.
you would...
And then he goes, did we beatbox together on a boat in Orlando, Florida? And I was like, how does Justin Timberlake, who, by the way, I always like to say, Justin Timberlake stole my life. I could dance, I could sing, I could beatbox, just not as well as him, I guess. But like his life and my life, it completely, it's just.
stole your life.
Stole
my life.
Justin Timberlake. You heard it here first. Justin Timberlake stole Scott Porter's life.
Scott, when he goes, as long as I got my suit and tie, and he like wiggles his. Can you do that? Because that's important. Let me see.
I could do it.
See it.
No, I'm not gonna.
Let me see it.
It's a podcast.
I knew it.
All right.
I knew it. No, we post social clips, and I knew you couldn't do it. That's your truth and a lie. You can't do this thing.
Wasn't this a move?
Yes,
too?
I can. No, that's Backstreet Boys. Oh my God.
Well, yeah, you're thinking of like ba ba ba.
Yeah.
Ba ba.
I can dance. I can actually dance pretty well. But
We're
Justin,
take your word for it.
Justin is on a whole other level. My a cappella group Mosaic that I was in for a number of years, they performed, opening for George Wallace for a number of years in Las Vegas, and also opened for Prince.
So are you saying they're all true?
No, because he didn't teach Justin Timberlake how to beatbox.
When the call came, I had left the group Mosaic to perform at Prince's New Year's Eve party. I was in Orlando, Florida. At Disney World with my family, my little sister and I, my little brother, my mom and dad, and I got a call from the group that I had been a part of for a number of years. Their current beatboxer had gone off the grid because they thought they wouldn't need to be singing throughout the holiday season. Then Prince called them last second and said, I want you guys to sing with me at my New Year's Eve party. And they called me and they're like, hey, if we can't find Troy, will you fly out tomorrow and sing with Prince? And I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then Troy showed up the next morning and I was so
Fucking
pissed. So
Troy
I did
after
not
a
perform
bender.
with Prince at his New Year's Eve party. Although Mosaic did, phenomenally talented group of guys, and that's so cool. I did get to meet Prince because of that group, but I didn't get to actually perform with him. So
I love him, and I want a big treat for sussing it out. You know what I'm saying?
That was good. You're better at that game than I am.
But you helped because you were like, he doesn't like lines, so maybe he just wants to knock it out.
Yeah.
I think that was a big part of it, was like him being like, oh, Prince. Also, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Didn't like that.
Wow, that was good.
You were better at that than you thought.
Yeah, you were real good.
Well, no, it's like you guys' stories were so varied and so different, and I was like, well, I went with the whole thing. Like very similar things.
It's a great strategy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But wait, so did you teach Justin to beatbox? Because I felt like you said
he heard a couple of the sounds I was doing, and back when NSYNC did their first national
How'd you
tour,
do that? Was that a fart? No,
nobody knew it was coming. They would do an a cappella number all together. Now, Joey Fatone had played the Phantom of the Opera, and so had Wayne Brady in the Beetlejuice's Graveyard Review that I performed in as Frankenstein and the Wolfman and Dracula. And so I had met Joey Fatone before he got into NSYNC. Chris Kirkpatrick had performed in the same show. JC Chazé had performed around town. So I knew a couple of those guys they would not remember me at all. But when we were on the boat, my group, we were rehearsing a song and I was making a certain sound, and Justin Timberlake was
the man
I
who
don't know
stole
him well
Scott's
enough
life.
the man who stole my life looked over and he's like, hey, what's that sound you're doing? Like, how do you do that sound? And he just asked me about this one sound, and I was like, oh, the snare that I do, because he did a very beatbox kind of right. I was doing like a snare that sounded more like a drum.
So did he steal your snare?
No, he didn't steal my snare.
Did he borrow it?
No,
he never brought it back.
He never used your snare.
And then he used it forever, and I never got any residuals, and that's what's wrong with the world.
Right.
Yeah, wow. He stole your life.
That's why we're fighting. That's why we're striking, to get those residuals back from
to get my snare residuals from Justin Timberlake. Thanks, man. Anyway.
I'm shook. That is so insane. That was really
that was a good one. That was a good round.
There you go.
That was an excellent round. I just have a quick question. Were you Backstreet or were you NSYNC? Think carefully.
I was NSYNC all the way.
Me too.
Forever and ever.
Me too.
I mean, guys, I was Boys to Men. Let's be honest.
Oh my God! Obviously, that's not on the list of options.
I didn't listen to any of them.
Together,
those were not my jam.
Probably the best answer.
You must have listened to NSYNC, but it's okay.
No, I was a hater. I did, and this is kind of cool. I read this article, and then I'm going to move on. But there was this article in the New York Times. Not to brag, I read the New York Times.
Yeah, right.
And I
subscribe.
I'm a subscriber. I've been a subscriber for decades.
Me too.
Support journalism. Let's go.
So anyway, they had an article about Dave Matthews Band.
Yeah.
Because for some reason he's like the most polarizing. They're the most polarizing band. You either love them or hate them. But it was really cool because this guy talked about how he went to Virginia Tech when Dave Matthews Band was like coming up, and they played every Thursday at Trax or whatever. And he's like, I never went to a single show because I was punk rock. And I was like, that's so lame. And now, and how like what we like at that age in our 20s like defines who we are. And if we're this, then we're not that. And that's lame. And he's like, and now I so regret I didn't go to those shows. I'm not like a huge Dave Matthews fan, but I appreciate them.
You're
and like how
music
lame of
trip.
me to think I was too cool to be at like the impetus of what became a band that's like 30 years into their career and still just as big as ever.
You know what?
The
People would
lamest
make
thing
fun
is
of me
always
for going
thinking
to
that
see.
you're too
Sorry.
cool for anything. I feel like that's the lamest thing, is thinking that you're too cool for something. It's way cooler to be like, I'm not too cool for anything. Like, I'm down with whatever. Then everybody's like, oh my God, that's so cool. It's like, because you're not trying. You're like, I don't care. I'm down for whatever. It's like, even if you're faking it, that to me is always like the coolest thing, is if you're like, I don't even care about being cool. I just want to have a nice time. Everybody's like, yeah. You know what I mean?
You know what band I saw a bunch that everybody would make fun of me for? I went and saw Blues Traveler a bunch.
Blues Traveler's amazing.
My God, those guys were incredible live.
No offense, I've hung out with that guy.
What?
Like,
was he cool?
Multiple times. He's great.
Yes.
Him and his wife. They're like way cool. I've hung out with them multiple times.
Yes.
I got to go see them as well. They're so dope. But like, that should have been another truth and a lie. All of a sudden I'm remembering like my whole life has been a truth and a lie back and forth. Blues Traveler rips. Dave Matthews Band rips. Like, come on, let's get honest.
I'm sorry. I only refer to Dave Matthews Band as Zach's Daughter's Lullaby now. Okay. That's their new. That's the band name to me.
Yeah.
Zach's Daughter's Lullaby. Otherwise,
she's under the table. She's streaming. Guys, for the comedy episode, we will have a comedy episode, and I will be cruise director for that, because one time a girl at a coffee shop called me a comedian and it hurt my feelings. So I will be taking hold of the comedy episode when we do that. No offense.
I love it.
Thank you.
Have you ever been on cruises? Have you ever gone on a cruise, Zach?
No, I'm not trying to be out there and not be able to get away. No.
I used to perform on cruises, but I've taken one. My wife and I went on a Disney cruise together. We were the only couple without kids there. It was fun. But I used to perform on cruise ships, so I was on them a lot.
You've seen behind the curtain.
I have, yeah. And
that's too
here's
scary.
the thing.
I don't like that tiny room and you can't swim away. No.
There's no cheaper place to get a drink than a crew bar on a cruise ship. I swear to God, you get like 50-cent Jack and Cokes.
Oof,
you just go down below deck, man. Go out there, hang out with the crew, man.
Sounds kind of like sushi before skydiving.
Yeah.
I think I'm good.
Okay. All right. I'm moving us into overtime. I got a good one because I think it links back to our first strike episode. You're okay. This comes from @Stremendous73. Love that. Mm-hmm. How do you cope with being really close to people for several years and then move on to another project? If and how you maintain relationships or deal with the grief of changing shows/projects? It's a great question. I mean, we're talking about, like our your Italy tour friends, your Bora Bora friends, our summer camp friends. Start a podcast is a great answer, May. So do you want to get how do you feel about that? Have you had good experiences, bad experiences?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's very tricky also having been like a child actor. I think you sort of, that's like your main area of socialization, and you really you just fall in love with these people. You're like a family. You work so closely with people for so long, and then oftentimes, it wraps and it just dissipates. And I remember I remember a specific project where I was like, oh my God, like this person is my best friend. I can't believe we found each other. And really it was like acting like that. And then the second we wrapped, she was just like out. And I was like, whoa, it really slapped me real hard. And so I think I was able to take a minute and just kind of take my expectation down a little bit. And it's such an intense bonding pressure cooker experience. But I do think that the more often that you do it, the more you're able to really be super present with everybody and love everybody and make really good friends. And then while also sort of realizing the people that you're going to end up actually keeping in touch with after the project and maintaining those friendships and stuff like that. Or just start a podcast and, do this stupid shit. And then you'll be begging to get rid of them. You know what I'm saying?
Wait a minute.
She's not begging to get rid of us.
I'm talking hypothetically.
That's the lie.
Scott, how about you?
It's not the truths. I've been lucky enough to make one or two true friends, I think, on most long-term projects that I've been on. I think on our show, even as tightly knit as the show we cannot speak about right now as we were as a cast. I think really, if I'm being honest, like 4 of us really keep in touch. And even you and I, like,
it
went a
goes in
couple of
like
years.
waves,
And
yeah.
it's because this
Yeah.
business asks so much of each and every one of us. So what I've come to learn is everybody has a life coming into the project and they have a life to get back to on the other side of the project. So I've stopped thinking or expecting people to owe me their time after we're done. And I try to just live in the friendship while we're there and working together. It's a lot like high school. It's a lot like this really sometimes arduous, sometimes very celebratory period of your life where you are in something for better or worse with a group of people. And it doesn't just mean that I'm friends with other cast members. There's a lot of times like
the crew.
My crew
Most of the
members
times.
are like really good friends and people that I keep in touch with, because they'll have some further stability in their life that like maybe some of the other folks from the, from the cast might not, as they bounce around and they continue to work. And the other thing is you so often are taken away from your home. And so set becomes your home away from home, but it's just like summer camp, or like you said, it's just like, when we went on our trip to Italy, I became fast friends with the people that I was with in Italy. And I know a couple of weeks ago, I was like flippantly like, no, I'm never going to talk. It's just because of where we're all from. I mean, we all went back to our lives. Calgary. I mean, there's not, a ton of times that I'm ever going to be in Calgary and see any of these folks again, So I just cherish the time that we had together and the experience that we got to live through together. And I don't expect much further at this point,
That's such a good like philosophy in general for friendships is like not trying to, and sometimes it takes a readjustment period, but necessarily like, expecting something from them that they can't give you. I think, that can often lead to disappointment in general. And you can sort of feel that disappointment and it's very like real, but it's also not like necessarily true. It doesn't mean they don't love you in their way or anything like that. It just means they have a different, threshold for whatever it is, or they're different than you. And I think it can really help if you, as they say, kind of, you can put them maybe a little further out on your spider web so you can still love them, but maybe not necessarily expect the certain things. It's just a different kind of, you're like reformulating what your friendship means.
Yeah. And then I just reach out every now and then to folks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's enough.
I expect nothing of anyone anywhere in life.
Yeah, we've noticed.
I mean, come on. That would be a life of disappointment.
Zach's motto, actually, I feel like this like hangs over Zach's door.
Expect
like before
nothing
you
ever.
Like on the show that we
It's
were on,
under
Clear Eyes,
promise,
Full
over
Hearts Can't
deliver.
Lose is over the door, over Zach's door as he walks out. Don't expect anything from anyone ever.
You guys try it for a week. Try it for a week. It's going to be great.
I love it. Zach, how about you?
I think it's just, you alluded to it. I've always said, someone told me, and it's always made sense. TV shows are like college and movies are like summer camp. When you're on a show, if it goes multiple seasons, you're there for like 6 to 9 months. You're best friends, blah, blah, blah. And then you have summer break. You go away. You have, whatever experience you had, and then you come back. Everyone's a little different. There's a little like getting to know each other, but you're so excited to see each other, and that keeps going. A movie, you're there for the summer or 6 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever it is, and you get to know each other really well. You're all best friends, and then, as we joked about the other week, you all kind of go away. The biggest thing I would say is I think the best part about cell phones is just the ease in keeping in touch with people.
Yeah.
I have genuine close friends who I haven't seen in years, who I've met on sets, but we are in touch with each other very often. I'll sometimes even call them when I need to talk through something. It's like I haven't physically seen this person in years, but because of our ability to stay in touch, we've been able to maintain a relationship.
Yeah.
It's very helpful. It's also kind of stressful because we've never lived in this world of like, I said this before, but I'm like definitely have the brain like space capacity to like sit down and write a letter and take a week and really think about what I want to say and blah, blah, blah. So like the constant immediacy of being like available on your phone, the thing I need you to, I like to be super present wherever I'm at. And sometimes it means like I need to like sit and actually focus and give like a full thing. So I'm like, but that's also just on me to define that. So I've sort of had to just define that about myself and be like, hey, this is how I do texting. Like I'll like take a minute and then I like, while I'm doing something else, I'm doing that. And then I stop and I'll sit to give you like a thoughtful response. You know what I mean? It's just
expect nothing of anybody ever. Like if I send that text out, I don't expect them to respond. That's up to them. They got a life going on. They got shit going on. They'll get back to me when they can, or they'll forget about me.
It's the hottest quality.
Yeah, man.
My apathy.
It's my literal dream come true.
I think this was great. I had a lot of fun. Scott's an amazing liar.
Me too.
And
I'm the best liar, though. No offense. I got both y'all.
Save it.
Right?
There was one more comment I wanted to answer real quick because we've gotten this question like all podcast series long. Scott Murphy 7404 said, "Can we talk about where Scott gets all of the shirts that he wears in these podcasts? Can we get any of them?" The answer is no. The Panther football one that I had was from a store a very long time ago. All of the Dylan specific stuff came from On Set. But there is one Clear Eyes Full Hearts Can't Lose shirt that you can get from a business in Columbus, Ohio called Homage, which is like my favorite t-shirt shop of all time. HOMAGE. And you can get the Clear Eyes Full Hearts Can't Lose shirt from there. And then he also said, and by the way, does he still have the launch codes for the cruise missile, which is a reference to the shirt that I'm wearing today, Long Shot, which was in a video game called Madden Football, which Zach and I actually got to meet the man, the myth, the legend, John Madden together. We were at a press tour, Zach and I together. The network we were on had football, and John Madden was there because the video game company EA was doing like a crossover, a tie-in. And when we met John Madden, he shook our hands, and his hand was probably like my entire forearm. Yeah. I mean, this guy had mitts the size.
It was like Aldous Hodge's hand
of the bear of the bear that charged you last week that we heard in the story last week. I got to play a character, which being an actor, and we've had a couple of questions about what are your favorite non-television or film roles. I did a character named Colt Cruz for Madden. I'm one of the only non-athletes to ever actually be in the game on EA. It was one of the coolest things ever. I got to work with Mahershala Ali and Dan Marino and Bill Cower and Barry Corbin. I mean, it was just Oscar-winning actors and Hall of Fame football players and coaches. It was a really cool experience. So I wanted to give Scott Murphy 7404 a shout out for mentioning Colt Cruz in the comments. I got this from On Set for Long Shot. We did a story mode. And just like we were talking about, how do you keep in touch with people that my buddy J.R. Lemon was the other actor that was on that shoot with me. And him and I, we talk probably twice a year, but I still consider him a very, very close friend. So shout out to Mike Young.
And you can get my shirt from going to Eras. Do that.
Where do you go?
Go to the Eras tour
look
and you
at
can get
this.
my Taylor shirt.
Yeah, just go to a Taylor Swift concert and you can get a Taylor Swift shirt.
No big deal. No big deal.
Just go to Aviator Nation. You get yourself a Tiger sweatshirt. Oh, here's the last thing before we go that I'm going to put out there. And you guys can react. You cannot react. What I suggest
no expectations.
is for one of these episodes, we do an actual book club. And we've talked a lot about Catcher in the Rye. And how going back to it.
Have we?
Older, yeah.
Yes.
We have. And how going back to that book that's so pivotal for so many of us in our youth, when you go back and read it as adults, it's a totally different experience. So let's marinate on it. But I think it could be fun to do a book club episode and break down Catcher in the Rye.
Well, we could also just do a book club episode and have we could do a couple books. It doesn't have to just be Catcher in the Rye.
How about we just go what's your favorite book next episode?
Okay, stay tuned next episode to find out our favorite book.
It's going to be great. The big mystery.
I'm Zach Gilford. This is Scott Porter. And Mae Whitman's over there rocking the mic. Anything else we want to say besides clear eyes, full hearts? Don't expect anything from anyone ever. Good night.
Just thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Thank you for listening. Peace.
I'm telling you guys, it's a good motto.